5 people shot to death in one tri-state community. Residents in Franklin County, Indiana are now on alert, wondering if the shooter is still out there.
3 men and 2 women were found shot to death around 2 trailer homes on Sunday.
A small town is shaken by the brutal Napier family massacre. Dive deep into the chilling case as secrets unravel. A young girl covered in blood, hidden drug deals, and a killer on the loose. Discover what really happened and how a community was left in shock. Watch the full story now. What would you do if your quiet town turned into the scene of a brutal crime? In this chilling case, we uncover the twisted events that led to a family's massacre and left an entire community in shock. In Laurel, Indiana, Angie Richardson and Roy Napier grew up as neighbors, fell in love, and married in 1984. They had 3 kids, Josh, Melissa, and Jacob. Roy worked as a carpenter, while Angie held multiple jobs. Money was always tight. By 2004, financial trouble pushed them to move into a trailer on Roy's mum's land. Even after Angie moved to a separate trailer, she visited Roy and the kids daily. Melissa dreamed big, becoming a nursing assistant, and she had a daughter, Sierra, with her boyfriend, Lucas. Sierra brought everyone closer, even after Roy and Angie separated and she started dating Jim Bilson. Things seemed to be working out for the Napiers until late September 2011 when everything changed. On September 25th, around 1:30 in the afternoon, a driver noticed a small figure in the middle of the road near Steps Hill Cemetery. As he got closer, he saw it was a little girl alone, looking disheveled and crying, seemingly covered in blood. He pulled over and asked what had happened. She replied, "My mommy is dead." The driver immediately called 911, struggling to understand what he had just heard.
There was a little girl walking down Steps Hill by the cemetery, and she claims her mom's dead. And she said something about a shooting. We'll get someone up there as quick as we can.
The little girl was identified as 4-year-old Sierra, Melissa Napier's daughter, and Angie and Roy's granddaughter. Shirley Cummins, Sierra's great-grandmother, rushed over to find Sierra alone on the road. She held the little girl close, trying to comfort her, and asked what had happened. Sierra told her her mommy, grandma, and grandpa were all dead. Shirley was stunned, trying to grasp whether this could be true or if the little girl was confused. When the police arrived, they headed to the trailer and realized the scene was serious enough to call in the Indiana State Police. While waiting for backup, they spotted a man nearby and ordered him to stop, but he ran into the woods, disappearing quickly. Who was he? The police were desperate to find out, believing he had to be involved in some way. They continued searching frantically for clues, and that's when they found something he had left behind, a truck. The officers ran the license plate through their database and it came back to a man named Dustin Lane, a local to the area. Officers were puzzled about why Dustin Lane had taken off running and what his connection to the case might be. He quickly became their primary focus. Within 30 minutes, 5 more police cars arrived at the scene, creating a buzz in the small town.
While many details have not been confirmed by police in Franklin County, Indiana, rumors are swirling tonight as residents in the small town of Laurel are trying to understand why 5 people were shot and killed.
Shock. I mean, I can't explain it in words.
When Sergeant Jerry Gooden from the Indiana State Police arrived, he was informed that there was more than one person deceased inside the trailer. He took a quick look through a window and immediately called for crime scene technicians and more homicide investigators. It was clear that they were dealing with a very bloody scene, and he didn't want to disturb any evidence. The Indiana State Police began planning how to enter the trailer, while local officers set out to find Dustin Lane, the man who had run into the woods. With the perimeter taped off, officers felt a sense of unease. The man who had fled could be hiding nearby, possibly armed, and they could be in serious danger. Detective Tracy Erling, one of the first to enter the trailer, described what he saw as a river of blood. In the small space, the bodies of 2 men and 2 women lay lifeless just feet apart. The scene was horrifying, with the victims barely recognizable and blood everywhere. For many investigators, it was unlike anything they had ever encountered. The neighbors confirmed it was Roy Napier's trailer, and his mother Shirley identified it as her son's home. If little Sierra's account was accurate, the victims could be Melissa, her grandmother Angie, and Roy himself. Inside the trailer, belongings were scattered everywhere, wallets emptied, purses turned inside out, drawers rifled through. The place had been ransacked as if someone was searching for money or valuables. Everything from prescription pill bottles to baby toys was soaked in blood. Just then, an officer interrupted, urging them to stop and follow him outside. Something new had come up. Investigators found a trail of blood leading away from the trailer and followed it. When they checked his pockets, they found a wallet with the name Henry Smith, not a member of the Napier family. Nearby there was a clean cell phone with a dead battery. The shell casings indicated a .38 caliber weapon, but the gun itself was missing. All 5 deaths were ruled homicides. Then Dustin Lane showed up at a roadblock covered in scratches and bruises. He claimed he had come to collect money from Roy and ran away due to his criminal record, fearing the police would blame him. He seemed genuinely shaken and was released, but the police kept his details just in case. Inside the trailer, a bloody DC skate shoe print was found leading outside. They also found a restraining order application that Roy Napier had filed against his son Josh. Suspicion quickly turned to Josh, who wasn't among the victims. Was he the one responsible? The next day, police searched for Josh at his girlfriend Sandra McDaniel's home, but she denied knowing his whereabouts. Amidst the panic, Josh showed up at the crime scene, having heard the news on social media. He broke down in tears, claiming he found out about his family's death online. Police questioned him, asking why his father had filed a restraining order against him. Josh seemed confused, blaming family disputes and suggesting his father didn't like Angie's new boyfriend Jim, who also disliked Roy. Then came a clue. A car near the crime scene belonged to Jim Bilson. Could he be involved? Jim was questioned, but his alibi checked out. He was at a barbecue confirmed by several people. Still, Josh was not off the hook. Detectives noticed Josh wore DC skate shoes, matching the bloody print found at the scene. They took his shoes as part of their investigation and planned to verify his alibi further. Details from the coroner added another twist. All victims were shot execution style, but Angie and Henry also had blunt force trauma. Rumors spread. Neighbors suspected drug deals at Roy's trailer, but oddly no illegal drugs were found. Then, the crime lab revealed that the phone found near Henry's body belonged to Angie, but its SIM card was missing and all messages were deleted. Meanwhile, little Sierra, the only witness, pointed her finger at Jim, saying Jim did it. Was she right? The police dug deeper, but Jim's alibi still seemed airtight. Detectives were stuck at a dead end, but kept circling back to Josh. Why hadn't he mentioned anything about drugs, especially when there were empty prescription bottles at the scene? Was Roy selling oxycodone to make ends meet? Considering the family's struggles, it seemed likely. They needed to push Josh for the truth. When pressed, Josh admitted that his father Roy sold prescription pills for extra money, which had caused tension between them. He mentioned a regular buyer who lived in a mobile home with his mom, Blondie. He didn't know the buyer's name but offered to lead the police to the location. Investigators quickly connected the dots. Blondie's son, David Ison, was already a suspect for an unsolved pharmacy robbery. David, a known criminal with over 20 felony convictions, was dangerous. While waiting for a search warrant, detectives learned that Melissa's phone had pinged near Blondie's home just hours after the murders. Was this a coincidence? They didn't think so. When the warrant was signed, officers surrounded Blondie's house, watching for hours. Finally, they saw David and a woman leave. He was in a ridiculous disguise with a fake beard and wig, but it didn't fool anyone. He was arrested, and in his car they found weapons, bloody clothes, Melissa's phone, and shoes matching the bloody prints at the crime scene. At the station, David denied knowing the victims, but when questioned about the murders, he clammed up and demanded a lawyer. Meanwhile, his accomplice, Amanda Napier, was revealed to be heavily involved. Although not blood-related to the Napier family, Amanda had married into it and was terrified of David, who had threatened to kill her and her children if she left or talked to the police. David finally confessed to the murders, driven by his OxyContin addiction. He went to Roy's trailer to buy pills, but a heated argument erupted when Roy tried to charge him more. When Melissa intervened, David shot her multiple times. He then turned the gun on the rest of the family, claiming he had to kill them before they killed him. David showed no remorse, saying he needed those pills and that the family was just in his way. He even admitted to killing Henry Smith, a neighbor who tried to help. His lack of empathy was shocking, as he blamed the victims for their deaths. At one point, he claimed he had done Melissa's daughter a favor by not killing her. Do you believe justice was served in this case? Share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more true crime stories like this.